In this lesson, we're going to look at how to call methods. So we're going to look at first a class banking account. And it's a fairly elaborate class the way it's set up. So let's walk through it. So first we have our instance variables, which are also known as fields. So we got three of them: private double balance, private int account ID, and notice we also have a static field, private static int account ID generator. Remember, static means that it's owned by the class. So that means there's only one of these account ID generators in existence. It's owned by the class. The account ID and balance are owned by every single object that's constructed. So if I have two different objects, it'll be two different balances and two different account IDs. So we got two constructors, one with no parameters, sets the balance, sets the account ID to the account ID generator, increases the account ID generator by 1. And then a single parameter does the same thing, except sets the balance to the parameter. We've got a couple of accessor methods: get balance, public static int get account ID generator. And then we got a withdrawal method, which decreases the balance by some parameter called withdrawal. And then I have this here, if check penalty. Now I know I wrote this little comment here. Note, methods can be called from anywhere, even inside another method of the same class. So this check penalty is a method that exists inside the bank account. You can see it down here. Now you can note check penalty here is private. That means it can only be called while inside this class. So when I leave the banking account class, I can no longer call check penalty. Now check penalty is not really super fancy. It returns a Boolean and checks whether the balance is less than 0. So if the balance is less than 0, you take a penalty from the balance. And then you have a deposit method, which just increases the balance by a parameter deposit. Now let's look at our other class, calling methods. So there are two types of methods, static and non-static. Static means it's owned by the class and doesn't require an object. There's only one of them that exists. You call it by the name of the class. Non-static means it's owned by the object, thus it requires an object, so you call it from the object. And to call a method requires knowing all the parts of the method. So every method has a return, and that's what the method returns. Void if it returns nothing. And if a method returns something, you need to do something with what it returns. And the method also has a name and parameters. The parameters is what the method is expecting to be sent. Okay, so we've got two bank accounts here, BA1 and BA2. This guy's balance will be 0. This one will be 200. Now remember, we just looked at it, but let's review. Bank account has the following methods: get balance, which returns a double; get account ID generator, which returns an int, and it's static, thus it's called by the class; withdraw takes a double, returns nothing; deposit takes a double parameter, returns nothing; check penalty is private, so that means we can't call it. Again, notice private, so we can't call it. All right. Now, since get balance returns a double, I assign that value to x. So BA1, that's the name of our object, dot get balance. Again, since it's a method, non-static, it's owned by here our bank account object. Now, get balance returns a double, so I need to do something with it, such as set it equal to a double. I also could straight up print it out, because I can print in system.out.println, I can print a double. Now, get account ID generator is static, so I call it from the class. So look, instead of saying ba2.getBalance, I say banking account, that's the name of the class, dot get account ID generator. So you call it by the class. And so if I create another bank account, you'll notice the account ID generator is increased by 1. So here, this will print something, and then this will print something different, because when I constructed it, it always increases it by 1. Now note, withdraw and deposit are void. thus they don't return anything. So look, I don't have to do anything with it. I don't have to set them equal to something. I just say BA deposit, BA dot withdrawal. And check penalty is private, thus can't be called outside the class. So if I try this, let me uncomment this out. It gives me an error saying, hey, it has private access, so I can't do that. So I'll comment this back out. Now let's run it and let's see what we get. So you can see the account ID generator did increase in number every single time it was constructed. And that is the end of this lesson.